Hi everyone, today we will be doing a quick tutorial session on lights in RHINO Render. I will be using the same model as I am using for the material demonstration. First things first, we will create a new layer for our lights. And then I will change the color for us to help us identify it properly. So the first thing we need to understand is what kind of lights there are in RHINO Render. Now the overall basic light is the sun and the skylight. So if you type in sun or light, the light command, there will be a window that pops up. It'll show like this. Right now in presets they have it off, but for us to better us to see it, we need to go into render mode, turn it on, and you will basically see everything as it is in real time. But because in your lights tab, there is this thing called skylight. Skylight basically highlights everything around in the RHINO environment for you to better see what you are doing. So if today I turned off my skylight, well, technically your skylight shouldn't be turned on, but if you turn it off, it'll show where the sun is and how it is oriented in real time. So if you go to your sun tab, because earlier I set mine on nighttime, if you scroll down, you are able to adjust the time of the day of how you want it to be. So as I'm approaching noon, you can see that everything is much brighter. And then if I lean towards nighttime or during the afternoon, the shading and everything will change accordingly. Now this is the basic thing that you should understand. And another fun thing about RHINO Sun Render is if you scroll down, you can actually choose the location of where your project is, or you can select here. RHINO will go through the internet and automatically detect where you are and find the nearest database that is located around where you are. So right now I'm currently here, it's probably located in Virginia, where the red part is, and then the blue part is where we are. Now today, if you want to change everything manually, then all you have to do is click on the manual control, and then you can adjust the sun's position, and then the altitude and the azimuth based off of whatever you want. Now that is the most basic lighting tool that you can use in RHINO. Now we are going to get into artificial lights. So if you go up to your toolbar and go to your render tools, right here you will have a toolbar that has all of the lights that are in RHINO. There's a spotlight, a point light, a directional light, a rectilinear light, and a linear light. All of these other functions here are more complex, and I won't be getting into them in this demonstration, but you can look into them yourselves. But if you don't have those tools, all you have to do is go up to this blank space, right click, and find your lights, and it'll show up. Next thing we're going to do is start to add these lights. I'm going back to my shaded mode, make sure I'm on the right layer. And here, all of these gaps, I kind of want to fill them up with rectilinear lights. So all I have to do is go up here, select the light that I want, and make sure you read the subcommand of what they want, what RHINO wants you to do. So right now I need to create a corner. So I'll reach far out to that corner. And then my length of how long my rectilinear light will be. So no matter how you drag it, the orientation will be based off of wherever your second point is. Click there, and then the width of my rectilinear light, you can also point it at any direction you want. And then that will be finished. So when you create a light, there will be an arrow that is showing up. That arrow is going to point out which direction that light goes. So be aware of how your light is oriented in case it gets covered by something or it's pointing in the wrong direction. Now I will continue to do so for all of these other lights, these other gaps. Do it fairly quickly. A quick tip, it's always good to have points or lines to help you decide where your lights are going to show up. For example, now I want to create a spotlight. Now, when you come up to the spotlight area, what it asks is the base of the cone. That means it's the opening of where that light is going to come from. So after you select a point, you will need to choose the diameter or the radius. Right now it says radius of how big that cone is. And let's do a rough estimate of about there. And then the end of the cone is kind of where that that source is going to be, or how it's pointed. Now, because RHINO is limited for you to draw only in the wherever this C-plane is, so having points fixed upon around the project will help you a lot in how to pinpoint like the surface light or the point light or a directional light for this instant. So right now I will create two sets of points for me to help me with determining where my spotlight will be. So let's say I want to move it right there. This will be my source, and then this will be where the base of my cone will be. So if I go back to my render tools, I will create a new spotlight. Select that first point. Let's do a big cone. And then see the second point now helps me to pinpoint where my surface light should be. And after that, all I have to do, I can either hide them or delete my my points. Now if I turn on my model and go to my rendered mode, everything is now fairly bright. And then I can adjust how my sun is going to be. So right now, if it's at 8 p.m., I have a big spotlight that is shining onto my project. Now, if I hide this, all of these rectilinear lights are now illuminating the project. Same thing, have your display frame on, your safe frame, and save images or viewports that you have. And then all you have to do is render. Go to your display or your render tab right here, and then scroll down depending on what kind of image size you want and the quality. DPI, the best quality on normally is 300, and then you can do a draft quality or low quality depending on how fast you want to see things. And then here, if you have trouble with, you don't want these to show up, like my lights and everything, go to your display tab and you can turn lights off, and then it'll hide the line work of it. Render, and then I'm going to render. Now the render will take time. I won't be going over this in this video, but that is basically the most basic lights that you can learn in RHINO Render. Go ahead and play with all of these 5 lights. Remember to look at the little commands and create a layer for your lights. Thank you.